Jamie Lee Gale gets just a second start of the campaign in what appears on paper to be a 4-3-3 lineup.
Well, it's unsurprising to see a few changes in this Perth Glory side. They've had a jam-packed schedule these last 3 weeks, so as much as tonight's lineup could be about resting tired legs, it could also be about giving girls minutes across the full squad.
Well, what about Canberra United? Vicky Linson, meanwhile, keeps faith with the same 11 that saw off Brisbane Roar 4-1 here 5 days ago. All eyes are likely to be on sharpshooter Michelle Heyman, who needs just 1 goal to become outright leading W League goal scorer of all time. But it's in the engine room where United have impressed in 2021, and unsurprisingly, Grace Maher and Laura Hughes are paired together once again.
Yeah, you're right, Russ. Canberra's midfield has been particularly impressive this season, and with Bianca Galich coming into form, the centre of the park is just going from strength to strength.
Today's match officials. Lara Lee takes charge of operations, assisted by Mies Suk Park and Delphina Demoski. Georgia Girardello is the 4th official. Reasonable crowd coming in. There's normally quite a fair few in the stand underneath where we're standing, where you were sat with Steph Rance last week, Grace.
Well, it is a rowdy Canberra United fan group, as we all know and hear, especially through the effects mic. I'm sure the fans will pick up as this game wears on, and starting to peel through the gates. Canberra fans coming in on a Friday evening, looking forward to some Friday night football here.
It'll be Perth to get us underway. They've only got 1 point this season. They have only played 7 games though. They've got a run in that consists of Melbourne victory twice and Melbourne City twice. And as Grace mentions at the top of the call, games coming thick and fast for the Glory Girls.
Yeah, it's been a massive schedule for them this last few weeks, and we've talked about time and time again the difficulties around COVID and scheduling, and Football Australia and scheduling teams have done a fantastic job to make this happen, but I really do feel for the Perth Glory Girls in having to back it up sort of every 4 days over this last 3 weeks. I think they've had 5 games, so that's a lot of minutes, a lot of time in the legs.
Can United get the 3 points they crave, or will Perth play party poopers? We'll find out in 90 minutes plus. Generally, these games are full of goals. There's been 89 goals in this fixture, the second most of any W League game ever. 20 behind the Sydney Perth, which has 109 to its name. We're expecting a few goals as Perth on the attack straight away, but the challenge in was decent. Card coming out here for a hand in the face on Galich, perhaps. Very early.
Yeah, it's hard to tell from where we were. Perhaps there might have been a trailing arm or an elbow then on Galich, and you can see she's just clutching off at her face there for a moment. Those ones sting, but I don't mind that from a referee calling and pulling a yellow card early. It just gets things under control and says this is what I'm going to tolerate for the match, and I think that's a good call there from Lara Lee.
Well, inside the first 30 seconds. Not the ideal start for Perth. We're talking off air about how settled they've been at the back as well. Same back four that played last week. A chance for Rigby to get herself forward and help out the attackers in towards Lowry. Picked up by Gale, who we think that was that picked up that yellow card. Shoveled back in by Anson, and the chase is on. And in the end, Sarah Morgan gives it up. What are you expecting Canberra's tactics to be this afternoon, this evening, Grace?
Well, they look to have lined up the exact starting lineup as what they did against Brisbane Roar, and we saw the success they had in that lineup. We spoke a bit about it in the last game with Michelle Heyman coming deeper into the field and looking for the ball at her feet. It looks like she's doing that again today in playing that central role.
Chance here for Grace Maher to bring it forward for United. Flannery, the runner on her right. It's Nikki Flannery. No fizz behind the shot in the end. First sight of goal, though, for the Canberra United flyer.
That's a good early opportunity there for Canberra United, and nice little through ball there from Gracie Maher to Nikki Flannery. Nikki wasn't able to capitalise that or get the power she needed behind it, but promising start for Canberra.
Heyman pops it off to Satchel. Goes for the return. Michelle Heyman, as we mentioned, on 70 W League goals at the start of this game. Ilioski swings it into the penalty area. And Glory should clear, though. And as far as Lauren Keir. Can she load something into the penalty area? Might get a second bite of the cherry. Flannery robbed by Caitlin Douglas. Morgan, loose touch, and the pressure on from Canberra in the early stages, but Perth come away with Moreno. And that's a sore one. She's trodden on the ball, and that's twisted the knee somewhat there, Grace.
Yeah, those ones can be a little bit awkward, whether you twist your knee or twist your ankle. You certainly don't like to see a player going down with those.
Yeah, just for a moment, I thought Alexia Moreno had done herself some severe damage.
No, good to see her back on her feet.
Free kick to United. Margot's quickly. Fletcher. Finds Galich. Ilioski forwards. And chases on, and Natasha Rigby wins it.
Don't mind that little early ball there from Grace Meyer to find Kendall Fletcher there. It sort of dictates the pace and sets the pace of the start of this game for Canberra United, and says that they're going to inform the speed at which this game's going to be played.
Good early pressure from United. Not often we see them in their away kit in Canberra. Mentioned the goals, and Jamie Lee Gale's yellow card was the 61st yellow card in this fixture. That's the third most across any W League match, so usually feisty affairs. Already played here once this season. 1-1 draw, both goals coming in the final 4 minutes. Elizabeth Anton opening the scoring for Perth. Hayley Taylor-Young equalising within seconds.
Look, hopefully we see some earlier goals in this evening's match. You know the stress it puts us under, particularly when they wait to the last 5 minutes, Russ.
Always makes for a good ending though, doesn't it?
That's right.
Been plenty of late goals here at Viking Park this season. Just a word about the pitch as well. It's in exceptional condition, isn't it, considering rugby started back up on this as well?
Oh, it's looking immaculate. The ground out here is it really is world class, and I had a little wander out on the pitch before the game, and it's just like carpet out there, and with a little dust of the sprinkler as well, it's zipping along really nicely. It's an opportunity for really, really fast, good football.
Moreno's flick on looking for Douglas on the edge of the penalty area. Crowded out. Steinmetz got a touch, but can only divert it into the path of Ma. It's Jess Nash, one of the standout players in 2021 for Canberra United, slotted into that centre-back role as if she was born to it. Galich. Pocket of space for Lauren Keir. It's for Flannery, but easily covered by Della Harp.
Something Canberra United did really well in their last match against the Brisbane Roar was keeping really early possession, switching the play nice and quickly, and it just set them up for the rest of the game. So important that they try and mirror that this evening.
Flannery to Heyman, looks for the return. Here's Nikki Flannery. Can she get there? She will! And unselfishly squared it up. And Paige Satchel, I think that was a stud away. Was it? Or was it Laura Hughes who made the run forward?
There was a slide in Laura Hughes there, and really unselfish play there from Nikki Flannery. I thought she was going to try and slot that one past Alfeld, and Laura Hughes just, I'm sure, one of those moments when she wishes she was just a couple of centimetres longer, and here it is again. Really good square ball from Nikki Flannery. You think that would have to be a sure thing from Canberra United in that kind of opportunity.
Yeah, very unselfish from Flannery, and Hughes had made the burst from midfield. Second opportunity for Canberra inside the first 7 minutes. Here's Anton. Happy to go back to Lily Alfield. It's been a torrid season for Perth. They've only picked up 1 point all year, and it was that one here. The spells of that game, they look quite lively.
Yeah, there have been some really promising patches for this Perth Glory side, and a disappointing campaign, disappointing season for them. And as I mentioned as well, the tough schedule has made this really difficult, but not to take away from them the fact that they are working towards some really good football. And I think with a bit more time and a bit more preparation, next season is looking much better for them.
Hughes touch. Lowry wins it back in midfield. Brings Kitty Richards into action. It's a late change to the Canberra United squad, with reserve goalkeeper Sally James going down unwell. Chantel Jones coming into the bench.
Yeah, Sally James is having a pretty tough run on it. She's moments away from being fully recovered from a broken finger, and unfortunately pulled out of training unwell in the last couple of days, and it just in these times really can't risk that kind of thing. So Sally's resting, and fortunately Vicky Linton has Chantal Jones at her disposal to be able to step into the bench in case she needs to come on for Keely Richards.
Richards has been excellent in her 5 matches this season. Waited a long time for a W League debut, but certainly made up for lost time.
Yeah, she absolutely has, and it's really pleasing for Keely Richards. She stepped into this first position just really flawlessly. She's played with a level of confidence and looked completely in place in the W League, which is just so exciting for her.
Lowry finds Moreno. Douglas has made the run forward, and that's where the pass was intended. Lowry's robbed Fletcher. In turn, Nash wins it back.
It's a bit scrappy at the back there for Canberra United at the moment. You can see the intent of the passes that they're trying to make, not quite hitting feet, not quite getting the delivery that they need to. And I heard a yell just a moment ago from Vicky Linton about we need to keep possession, and just those little half passes, half chances are going to make that really difficult for them if they keep hitting passes astray.
Ground's filling up quite nicely as people come in after work on a Friday. Some bonus W League action.
Well, that's right. It was an unexpected fixture here in the nation's capital. This is a Perth home game where Canberra United girls were expecting to go over to Dorrien Gardens and play this last night, actually, on Thursday evening, but it wasn't to be, so Perth have come over to Viking Park, and this still stands as Perth Glory's home game.
If you are tuning in from Perth, hope you're enjoying the match so far. Shout out to all our viewers in the UK as well. Live on TV over there too. Here's Satchel running the channel. 2 to aim for in the middle. Looks to go backwards as far as Fletcher. Galich. Fletcher once more. Good pressing from Moreno.
It's something Perth Glory do quite well. They don't mind that high press and putting in a bit of pressure on a defensive opposition in that positioning there, and Moreno is doing quite the job on that today already.
Delahat up. Anton. Glory happy to keep possession for a bit, inviting Canberra out. Here comes the press. Ilioski shields the ball nicely there, though.
That's good patient shape there from Canberra United, not pressing Perth Glory's backline and just really happy to absorb a bit of pressure and almost bait the error there, which is what they've done, and they've regained possession here, and now important for them to build up from the back.
Well, they come to Viking Park, the crowd, and they expect goals. Canberra have only failed to score one in one match this season. They've netted 14 in 5 matches at Viking Park this campaign, as Ma looks to add to that. Some return, isn't it? 14 in 5 games.
Yeah, look, that's a decent goal-scoring record there.
Rugby.
And on the other end of that statistic, Russ, really rough for Perth Glory. They've conceded 14 goals in the last 3, and that's a really, really tough thing for a team to sort of mentally recover from and try and regroup and come back together and just be really resolute defensively for the remainder of their season. I think that needs to be their goal, their target, in conceding as few as possible.
Well, they failed to keep a clean sheet in 24 consecutive matches. Last time they did so, and they kept the opposition to a blank, was against Canberra in a 1-0 win at Dorrien Gardens back in January 2019. That must seem like a long time ago. Satchel in behind again. She's got rapid pace. Only Flannery in the penalty area though, and plenty of white shirts back. Satchel still has it though. Looks to find Heyman. It's come as far as Grace Maher, who hits it first time. Placement rather than power from the midfielder.
That's a nice bit of work there from Paige Satchel down the left-hand side there. She's just got such speed, as you mentioned there, Russ. And Grace Maher, nice one into the box, and she caught that on her right foot, which I'm sure she would have much rather be her left. But good contact and, again, promising signs from Canberra United.
Scored 2 goals this season, Grace Maher, both of them absolute worldies from distance.
She doesn't mind that long-range effort.
I'm sure she'll be eyeing one off again this evening if the opportunity presents itself. Here's Keir. Nice flick from Ma. Delahat read the intentions though. Ma finds Heyman. Galich Batsama. You know Michelle Heyman quite well as well, of course, Grace, having played with her. The fact that she's on 70 goals and one away from the record, would that play on her mind, or is it something that she would be aware of, but it's not going to faze her too much?
Look, I think it's something that Michelle's really mindful of. She's a competitor and she likes being able to push for those kind of records. I think last week's was probably more important in terms of actually equalising the record. I think that was weighing on her heavily. Now she has equalised. I think she's probably going to play with a little bit more freedom, a little bit more relaxed in how she is approaching a game. And hopefully for her that comes more comfortably in these remaining matches. But yeah, look, I think it probably was that one in terms of trying to equalise Sam Kerr's record and hit that 70 goals for the W League.
Relatively quiet in the opening 13 minutes. Canberra had the best chances though. Flannery at the heart of both of them. Good win in midfield by Morgan. Entrusted with only her third W League start of the season.
Yeah, I mentioned it just before kickoff as well about just the schedule that Perth Glory have had over these last sort of, well, not just 10 weeks, but sort of 3 weeks particularly. And perhaps bringing in someone like Sarah Morgan, sort of fresh legs, hasn't seen as many minutes. It might be about resting players who have just played back-to-back. But it could also be an opportunity for some of these girls and some of these young girls to get really good W League experience, and I think that's really important as well.
Flick around the corner from Flannery, was caught late. And a card coming out again here. And this time I think it's Rigby who's the guilty party.
Look, again, I think this is a really important intervention by Lara Lee. Sometimes in matches we see referees let things go for the opening stanza of a game, but I think when a yellow card's a yellow card and important to call it, and Nikki Flannery has definitely come off a little bit sore from that challenge, and anyone who knows Tash Rigby knows she's not afraid to get stuck into a physical challenge at all.
Yeah, they're often the worst, the ones on top of the foot, aren't they? It's been a flick around the corner and the hanging leg.
Yeah, they're the kind of ones that you sort of run off and you feel comfortable for most of the game, but you wake up tomorrow and you know you've been trod on.
Well, but Fletcher and Heyman on different wavelengths there. American defender gets another chance though and finds Nash. Up towards Flannery. Ma beaten to it by Douglas. Now can she initiate a Perth Glory attack? Moreno finds Lowry. Rigby looking for the angle to see if she can deliver. Gale plays it back to her. And the flag goes up against Sarah Morgan.
That's nice disciplined defending there from Canberra United, but just super important for them that they don't become complacent in this kind of fixture. It's an absolute must-win for this United side, and Perth Glory, we've seen the kind of goals that they can put on. Hannah Lowry in there, she's so dangerous on her left foot, and she's the kind of player who can just produce results. So Canberra United need to stay alert and not become complacent in this match.
Here goes Satchel again, off to the races. The sheer pace of the Kiwi. Heyman. Ball wide and a chance here for Gallich to fire it across goal, and there was no one there. Flannery didn't gamble. Another presentable opportunity for the away team.
Oh, look, a presentable opportunity is probably be too kind, Russ. I think that needs to be a sure thing for Canberra United. Put an early goal or two away here and this game is all theirs, but great ball across the face of the goal there from Bianca Gallich, and Nikki Flannery, she'll be kicking herself for not getting on the end of that one.
Well, clearly Vicky Linton's seen some tape, and that ball over the top to Paige Satchel using her pace is causing real problems for Perth in the opening stanza.
And remember as well that Tash Rigby is no slouch. She's really rapid herself, so for Satchel to be getting around her, it just shows the pace that Satchel brings to this side.
Flannery down the line. It's one thing Canberra does possess, is bags of pace in the front third. Another speedster on the bench in Hayley Taylor-Young, of course. Recently signed for MacArthur, I believe.
It is really important for a team like Canberra, when they do have that kind of pace up front, that they're dynamic in their approach. They're not just relying on their pace. They understand when to try and hit feet, slow things down, and not just sort of overuse that strength in their pace up front. Just learn when to switch out and play feet and connect out the back as well.
It can become predictable, can't it? At the moment, though, it's looking like a good way in for them. You'll be pleased that the clouds have come over. It's a bit cooler. Satchel wins it back. Here's Ma. Galich. Ilioski. Satchel again. His patient build-up as Fletcher looks for the run of Heyman, but again, not quite at the same party. Kendall Fletcher and Michelle Heyman.
And it's not often you say that. They're normally very much on the same wavelength and they feed off each other and play off each other really well. But just settling into the opening minutes of this match, I'm sure that'll come to fruition.
We were at the corresponding fixture last year in a couple of early goals from Charlie, the American import. First one was an absolute beauty as well, wasn't it? I
think I do remember that goal, and Simone Charlie, wasn't she an asset for the Canberra United side? A really great goal scorer and quality from the NWSL.
She in fact got all 3 of Canberra's goals against Perth last year. Got the one in the 1-1 draw away, a game in which Perth equalised in stoppage time.
I think it's almost fair to say that Nikki Flannery perhaps should have already had 2 to her name this evening.
She'll be disappointed she's not on the score sheets. And so will the away crowd, I should say. Here's Satchel again, stretching the legs. Rugby struggling to keep up. Flannery into the middle. Might break for Grace Marr on the edge of the box. And it might find its way through to Satchel. There's a slight tug there. Still going, Satchel, just wide of goal. Was there a pull on the arm there, Grace Gill?
Look, from where we are, Russ, I'd say there was, and I think the only thing that really needed to happen there, if Lara Lee wasn't going to call that one, was for Paige Satchel to go down. Definitely an arm over the shoulder, and to my eye, that's a foul any day of the week.
Yeah, a less honest player may well have tumbled to the ground. Satchel, though, keen to get the shot away, did well to wriggle away into some room. Didn't test Alfeld's in the goal, though. Here's Satchel again, in a live wire. Off she goes once more. This time finds Flannery. Lauren Keir's going to pick this up for Canberra United. The run straight into Caitlin Douglas, who fancies a run of her own. It's a duel to watch. Lauren Keir and the Caitlin Douglas one on this near side.
That's a really good match up there, and Lauren Keir really settling into this right back position for Canberra United and has been provider last week for Michelle Heyman's 70th goal. Actually, she was the assist behind that goal with a good early ball over the top, and she's really looking confident in that position.
Nash penalised for jumping into the back of Moreno. Chance for Perth to put some bodies in and around the box. Deborah Ann Della Harp. There's the Canberra bench. Rachel Goldstein, Demi Kilizakis, Haley Telly-Young, Jessie Rashart, the outfield subs. Della Harp swings it in. Met by Hughes. Gets a second bite as well. Flannery's touch. And Steinmetz back to win it back for her team. Here's Anton.
You can see here as well, Canberra United just really comfortable setting up defensively. They've got a nice compact shape there, narrow in their defensive positioning, and almost encouraging Perth Glory to try and push it wide, which they've just done there, and knocked it out for a Canberra United throw-in.
Canberra United 2 points out of the 4. Melbourne Victory ahead of them on 17, and then Adelaide and Brisbane Roar on 19. So win today would give them a real opportunity. Matches to come against Newcastle Jets, of course, and then Sydney FC here in the final rounds. Realistically, if Canberra to make the 4, how many points do you think they need out of those 9, Grace? Could they get away with 7?
Look, I think that they're going to be pushing really hard for the full 9 points, and that's going to give them the best opportunity to make finals. Mathematically, I'm not sure what 7 points would do for them, and whether or not then they'd be relying on other results and other maybe goal difference to go their way. So it makes tonight's match critically important to get the 3 points, and not only get the 3 points, but you'd want to see them get it convincingly as well.
As mentioned, Perth could do them a favour. They've got victory twice. No goals so far, though. Canberra United having the best of the opportunities. Nicky Flannery at the heart of it. Here's Moreno for Glory. Lowry. The long ball just over hits.
You can hear the shout from Alex Opakis there on the side to look for D, so look for Della Harp there. So they're looking for that long ball over the top and trying to find those pockets of space out wide. But it's just not been effective for them so far in these opening 20 minutes.
Larry's leap. Galich got a piece of it. Steinmetz snaps into the tackle. Morgan comes away. Sarah Carroll looks for Douglas. It's a difficult one for the forward there. Wins the header, no one to really play it to.
Yeah, probably asking a little bit much of Douglas just there.
Here's Morgan. Anton to Lowry. Della Harp. Steinmetz, nicely done to Carroll. Changing the point of the attack. And Rigby can bring it forward. In towards where Caitlin Douglas was lurking.
That was a better bit of play there from Perth Glory as well. I think Canberra United defensively were just a step off their opponent, and Perth Glory were able to combine really effectively through the midfield and almost create a half chance at the end of that.
Satchel finds Flannery. Ma, instant pressure on her from Lowry, and another shirt pull then. She might be the third Perth player to get a card here. Or will it just be a ticking off from Lara Lee?
I think it's a close chat saying this is the second time and this is your last warning. It could have easily been a yellow card there for Hannah Lowry. There's an obvious shirt pull there on Grace Maher, and I'm sure that will be the last of Lowry's challenge. There's challenges that she gets away with without being a card.
Kendall Fletcher with the set piece. Canberra committing 6 into attack. Cluster on the far side of the penalty area. Nodded into the danger zone. Might fall for Heyman. Will fall for Satchel. Got over it, unfortunately, for the New Zealander.
Look, I don't mind that ball across there from Kendall Fletcher. I think the idea and the intent was right, where Perth Glory had all their players at the top of the 18-yard box, and Fletcher was able to find a free Grace Maher on the wide of the 18 there, but just didn't quite have maybe the speed or the impact that needed, and a bit of a scrappy kind of clearance there from Perth Glory.
It's a noticeable, Grace, that every time Grace Maher does get the ball, they are snapping at the challenge really early on her. Don't give her time to settle and dictate the play.
Yeah, I think what Gracie does really well is that she'll find feet, she'll piece things together, and as we've seen, she can have a shot of her own. So she's probably been worded up to have some pretty close physical attention on her, and you're right, Rush, she's not really had any room to move on the ball tonight. I'm sure that would have been a direction from Opakis.
Tactical work from the Glory. It's Morgan's ball forward, chases on for Della Harp. Lauren Keir's going to have to make a decision here. And Della Harp wants a corner and gets one. Nicely done from the fullback. Well, it's safe to say Lauren Keir doesn't agree.
Yeah, that's a really good effort there from Della Harp. She didn't give up on that one. I think Lauren Keir almost needed to try and get a bit of contact, get a piece on that ball over the top, and not allow it to bounce, it to run through, and Perth Glory have resulted in a corner.
There's literally nobody in the 6-yard box. This is really unusual from a corner. Della Harp to take. All the runners coming in late. Good ball in as well. And that wasn't far away.
Yeah, that was a really good chance for Perth Glory there. That was a tough ball to deal with for Keely Richards. The sun's in her eyes and she's just looking directly into that harsh sunlight there. Really tough and really good opportunity for Perth Glory.
Yeah, Anton got a fair piece of it. Meanwhile, Heyman has found Flannery and she wins a corner at the other end. Now, very unusual that from a corner. You usually see plenty of players in and around the goalkeeper. What have Canberra got up their sleeves? Galich entrusted to take.
Well, nice counter-attack as well there from Canberra United, and a good bit of running from Michelle Heyman down the flank, and Nicky Flannery perhaps should have rolled out and looked to find a bit of space on that shot, but managed to get a shot away and resulted in a corner here for Canberra United.
Can Galich deliver? Decent one in towards the penalty spot. Lauren Keir was the target. Moreno with the clearance. Ilioski. Ma. Galich forward. Fletcher had stayed up. Caitlin Douglas was the shadow.
Seen in these set pieces as well from Canberra United, Perth Glory are getting every single number behind the ball that they can. They're not leaving a player up top. They're not leaving a target. You can see defensively they'd rather step back and try and hold that strong, resolute structure instead of look for an outlet at the top. At least in the last couple of set pieces, that's what they've done. That's how they've set up.
Rare touch for Richards. Nash. Keir. Douglas wins the throw. It's a bit of an anomaly because we are at Viking Park, but as this is a Canberra away game, they haven't actually won in 7 consecutive away matches. So they don't travel very well, but they haven't had to travel very far today. Della Harp looking for Douglas to chase. I think she always knew that the ball was going to beat her on this surface.
Yeah, look, this is probably the closest away game that Canberra have had to travel for, and
Ever.
Ever, I would imagine, and Perth have obviously come a long way for it. But again, just back to the scheduling, back to the requirements about fitting these matches in and doing what's possible to get through this season for Perth Glory.
Well, Perth have never won in Canberra in 11 attempts. Only 2 draws to their name. They're more than holding their own so far. We come up to the half-hour mark.
It's one of those games as well, you look at these last 30 minutes and you think it very easily could be 2-0 to Canberra United, and how quickly and how easily that can change a game. And I'm sure Nikki Flannery will be frustrated with those couple of opportunities, and whether more sort of come to her in front of goal there, and she'll be keen to absolutely bury one of those and open the scoring campaign this evening for Canberra United.
We saw it as recently as 5 days ago, Grace, with 3 goals in the first half hour for United against Brisbane, and the whole complexion of the game changes.
That's exactly right. You can see what it does to the mentality of a team and to the momentum, particularly. Getting an early goal just can completely change, I guess, the speed and the play of a game, and Canberra United really importantly need that to happen for them tonight.
Well, as Grace said, they aren't without their chances in the opening half hour. Nash under pressure. Works it out to Galich. Finds Keir. Satchel. Just a little bit loose in their passing so far, United.
I think reflecting back on what worked so well for them against Brisbane Roar, as I mentioned, was really simple possession, just connecting at the back, hitting feet, getting in a couple of switches before they even look to go forward, or bouncing it in and out of the midfield. And they're probably just rushing that a little bit this evening, but if they want to come back to that kind of play, that's what they need to do, is just go back to basics and find feet.
Lovely ball from Moreno, finds Douglas, who gets a strike away. Richards called into action. Fairly routine stop from the keeper, but delightful weight on that pass from Alexia Moreno. Yeah,
that was a beautiful ball through from Moreno, and really dangerous for a defensive unit as well. And well kept there by Keely Richards. Positioning was correct on the post, and she had the near post covered and was able to collect quite cleanly.
Lovely touch from Heyman to find Galich, and now she's invited Flannery to stretch the legs again into the penalty area, and the challenge had to be good, and it was, from Elizabeth Anton at the expense of a corner.
Yeah, nice challenge there by Anton, and Flannery might have invited a little bit of body looking for a foul there, but really good pace, really good cover by Anton, and Nikki Flannery again looking dangerous for Canberra United.
In fact, he went out for a throw right by the corner flag. The view slightly blocked here. Lauren Keir to take. Volley clear as far as Moreno. Beginning to make things tick on the ball, Moreno. Douglas steps inside and off she goes. Brushes off the challenge of Nash. Not much up in support. Rigby arriving. Lifting it in towards Gale. Lowry takes over. Moreno. Not much room. Morgan trying to thread the eye of a needle.
It's almost a bit too easy there for Perth Glory. They're just able to connect in a really dangerous part of the field, and Canberra United just a little bit lax standing off their defensive player, and Perth Glory with some really good passing, some really tidy passing in that final third.
Richards finds Keir, who was waiting for it rather than attacking, and Steinmetz took over. Anton dicing with danger momentarily. I think she had it under control though. We mentioned Glory's record of conceding a fair few goals, but they've been troubled a couple of times, but look fairly solid.
Yeah, they do look fairly solid at the back, and when you've got the likes of Tash Rigby corralling her team there as captain, and the experience of Anton and Carol there, who's been with Perth Glory for as long as she has now. They're a really resolute defensive unit, and despite their sort of defensive record in terms of goals and goals conceded, they're a quality back four.
Well, in 3 of their defeats this year, they did go down just by the odd goal. 1-0 to Adelaide, 1-0 to Western Sydney, and 2-1 to Adelaide again. This one's a sore right in the chest. Perth Glory have been W League champions, of course, as have Canberra United.
See this one again here on Rigby. She might have just copped that right to the solar plexus, in which case just absolutely takes the wind out of you and takes a few moments to recover from those.
We'll try and walk it off.
Well, Tash Rigby's an absolute warrior, and she'll be back up on her feet in no time, as she is there.
I'm sure it'll raise a smile a little bit later. Meanwhile, just out of shot, Kendall Fletcher was getting some instructions off Vicky Linton down by the bench. It's a beautiful evening now here in Canberra. The sun's gone behind the clouds and temperatures dropped a few degrees. Not quite as muggy as it was at kickoff, and I think that's going to help the players no end.
Yeah, it's a lovely evening here in Canberra now, and
here goes Heyman, and here's Flannery. Is it third time lucky for Nikki Flannery? It certainly is. This time she picks her spot, this time she picks the corner, and this time United lead. Nikki Flannery with her 4th goal of the season. It's Canberra 1, Perth 0.
Oh, well, that had to be at that time, didn't it, from Nikki Flannery? We saw an opportunity earlier in the match where she was unable to capitalise on that opportunity, but really beautiful run through there, and she's timed that and weighted that pass so perfectly past an outstretched outfield, and really composed, tidy finish. Well done, Nikki Flannery.
Wasn't looking for the square ball on this occasion. Decided to go on her own and slotted it superbly. In amongst all that, there was that ball from Mara, and this touch from Heyman, perfectly weighted. Yeah,
beautifully timed run, beautifully timed ball there from Michelle Heyman. I think Nikki Flannery has picked the right corner in that, and that's a really mature, really composed finish. And Nikki Flannery, she is in some goal-scoring fashion at the moment.
3-3 for Nikki Flannery.
You speak about someone like Nikki Flannery just being an absolute confidence player, and she really is. The moment she nets a couple, it just lifts her game, and we've seen that come into her games in the last couple, and again today. She's just looking so dangerous up there, and that's a really nice, neat finish.
Seeing how composed and calm she was finishing that, you do wonder why she tried to square the one earlier.
Yeah, so the thought flashed through my mind. I thought, is she going to shoot this? Is she going to square it? I'm really glad to see that she made the right choice in that one, and it was just a nice, neat finish. Didn't need to be anything fancy.
That's come off Heyman, and it might fall for Satchel. Steps away from Carroll. Heyman wants a return. Here is Michelle Heyman. Satchel, Perth back in numbers. So Satchel's happy to find Galich. Invites Lauren Keir to take over. Flannery. Confidence weed pumping through the veins. Swings it in towards Heyman. It's deflected, and it was almost an own goal. Michelle Heyman denied by a good save from Oldfields. And the ricochet could have gone anywhere.
Well, that's a much better build-up there from Canberra United. Good little through ball there from Lauren Keir, and nice cross, Nikki Flannery. And what an initial save from Lily Alfeld there, just to get a foot on that and deny Michelle Heyman for a 71st W League goal.
May have been the moment. I'm sure there will be others. Kendall Fletcher with the corner. Left-footed, looking to deliver into the penalty area. Swings it in towards where Heyman was lurking. It's bouncing around. Moreno can bring it under control, but all on her own. Steinmetz. Now Della Harp. It's the goal that Canberra needed, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, look, it certainly was. And although Perth Glory are currently holding possession of the ball, it certainly gives a sense that it's kicked Canberra United into gear, and there's a certain buzz around the ground and around the field that you can certainly feel after that one, Russ.
Yeah, within seconds, Heyman almost made it 2. For Alex Apakis and Glory, it will be a question of trying to see this through to half-time without further damage at the moment. Because in the main, they've been very much a part of this. Richards forced into a save a few moments back. Sometimes you look at goals, Grace, and you can pinpoint defensive mistakes or errors on individual behalf, but that one there from Canberra was just beautifully created and wonderfully executed.
Yeah, it really was. It was a nice build-up, nice development there from Canberra United, and good decision-making on the end of it, which I think is the most important thing in those last moments of play, and making the right decision, not panicking, being able to keep you cool when the heat's on. And Nikki Flannery did just that in a really important goal for Canberra United. And I've just heard Vicky Linton there down on the sideline. Big 5 minutes, so 5 minutes coming up until half-time, and how important that is to a football team, how important that is to Canberra United not to concede before this half's out.
Ilioski, plenty of room in which to make a decision. And in the end, I think it was too much time on the ball for the young fullback. Here's Gale looking to take her on in a foot race. Ilioski too quick. Combining with Nash to send that one forwards. Another player that's come in this season, Ilioski, and done superbly well.
I think I've mentioned in every Canberra United call that it's just so impressive to see the impact and the effect she's had from being a training agreement player to a full contracted player. And
Caitlin Douglas fires one from range, and it is an absolute perler. It's 1-1, a bolt from the blue from Caitlin Douglas, and just like that, Perth draw themselves level. A left foot thunderbolt. And a surprise for the Canberra fans and players.
Well, that's a really class finish there from Caitlin Douglas, and she's created just that moment of space for herself to get that on her left foot. Just a little look up. Keely Richards caught just off her line, but that's a class finish, a class strike. Well done, Caitlin Douglas. Quality there.
Elevation just enough to lift it over the head of Richards. Wonderful strike. Second of the season, 7th W League goal for Caitlin Douglas. And Canberra have to do it all over again.
Look, we've just mentioned there about those big 5 minutes in a football game and how important it is at this point in the match for Canberra United not to concede. And unfortunately for them, they've just done so, which makes a really tough half-time, a really tough point to then turn things back around again and basically back at 0-0 and trying to claw your way back to a result.
Well, it was Canberra scoring within a minute earlier this season at this venue. Took Perth a little bit longer, not too much. 5 minutes after falling behind, they're back level.
And it's just those brief moments of complacency, of just switching off for a second. And Caitlin Douglas is the kind of quality young player that can create that sort of space for herself. And that was a really neat finish on her left foot.
We've seen some corking goals in the W League this season. There's another one for the highlights reel. Not much Richards could have done about it either. Her positioning was pretty good. It was just the quality of the finish. Now, can United respond in kind? Satchel looking to beat Rigby. A nudge from Rigby there, but Ilioski swings it in towards Heyman, who was lurking. Couldn't get enough contact on it. You wouldn't think there'd be too much panic in the Canberra ranks, though. Grace, they've created enough chances.
Yeah, look, I don't think it's time to panic for Canberra United, but it is disappointing. And as much as those big five moments do damage to a scoreline, I think it's really the psychological aspect of that for me that's so important, and how they then regroup going into half time. I'm sure it will be disappointing for Vicky Linton as well, but just especially important now that they come out in the second half, all guns blazing, and looking to get an early goal on the board for the second half of this match.
Carroll finds Anton. Looks for the runner ahead, who was Douglas. Richards decides to let it roll out of play. Should imagine we get too many minutes of stoppage time at the end of this half. It's been a very free-flowing encounter.
Yeah, look, I think it has for the most part. Sort of a bit static in stages. There's been a couple of lulls in this first half, and with the exception of Canberra just after they scored their goal, it's been a little bit flat, I'd say. I think both teams will be looking to inject a little bit more into the second half after they've had a breather.
Lowry looks to swing it in. Rapper foot quite around the ball. Do we have something before the break for either side? Ilioski for that run of Satchel again, but Satchel didn't go on this occasion. How important will that save from Lily Alfeld from Michelle Heyman prove to be at the end of 90 minutes tonight?
Well, they're just those moments that can completely turn a game around, and yeah, that was a really, really important save from Alfeld, and great chance for Michelle Heyman, but it just wasn't meant to be on that occasion.
It's a raking ball forward, and an important header from Ilioski. Moreno finds Morgan. She was caught late there, and the ball has invited Douglas into the penalty area. Swings it back. Nash was there to bring it away. Moreno still down in a heap out of shots. Nash does well to find Heyman. Marr sends it forwards. Hughes. That's a run on for Satchel here. Alfeld, though, has read that very well, and the sweeper keeper to clear.
Look, the idea is right there from Laura Hughes through Paige Satchel, but the ball didn't quite have the texture it needed on it to just evade Alfeld, and Alfeld is an experienced enough goalkeeper to know when to come off her line and collect that one, as she just did.
Fletcher finds Heyman this time. Hughes is square, and it's come for Laura Hughes. Might tee herself up here. Tees up Flannery instead, who curls one towards the far post, and it wasn't far away. Nikki Flannery. Well, Laura Hughes is going to cop a yellow card for that challenge on Moreno about 90 seconds ago. The third of the season. Incidental in that move, though, and Flannery wasn't far away.
No, and I almost thought Laura Hughes there was going to hit that one first time. You thought just have that come across to her right foot, her favoured foot, and she's a technical enough player to be able to do that. So interesting to see that she took a touch, and she took a touch into traffic, and then Nikki Flannery would have had to hit something pretty special to find the top left-hand corner on her left boot there.
Didn't quite have the curve. Got everyone excited for a moment, though.
Certainly looked good from up here.
Galich steamrolling her way down the flank, finds Heyman. Allowed to turn and step away from the challenge into the penalty. And Michelle Heyman fires it across goal, finds its way to Flannery, and a superb piece of blocking from Deborah Ann Della Harp maintains parity.
Oh, that's really, really quality defending there from Della Harp, and well worked there from Michelle Heyman just to evade her defender, and then a second, and that's a quality ball she's put across the face of the ball. And Nikki Flannery again looking to get on the end of it.
Would have thought she would scored. I'm sure she did. The last action of the half, and a half in which Canberra United have fashioned the better chances. but haven't been able to take most of them.
That's exactly right. It hasn't been without chances, and especially Nikki Flannery involved in many of those, and frustrating not to be able to capitalise for them on those occasions that they have had. But we come away at one apiece, and what a class finish from Caitlin Douglas.
Perth Glory equalising after Canberra United took the lead. Nikki Flannery sliding the visitors in front here at their home ground in the 37th minute. The lead lasted for 5 minutes. Caitlin Douglas rifling home an equaliser from distance, and at the break here at Viking Park in the W League, it's Canberra United 1, Perth Glory 1.